Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner, and I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me today. I am a quantum energy healer, a master nutritionist, functional bloodwork specialist, and today this is going to be a very real episode. I've got no notes. This is all just from the heart because this this time of year, and it's not even always just the season, okay? Because it's not just a holiday season or something like that that is going to cause you to have like extra emotions running high and things like that. But often it does kind of like slide in with all of this because there's so much extra stuff going on. So I just wanted to address this because sometimes there are days when you're not okay, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. It's okay to acknowledge that you are struggling at the moment because you can also acknowledge and know and understand and truly believe that you will be okay again. Today is not forever. So, I've been dealing with some things over the last, several weeks. And I've been noticing I've been getting panic attacks over the weekend. And now, I mean, I've had panic attacks in the past, but I don't usually get them. This isn't something that happens to me very often. Now, years ago, that statement was untrue, but now it really doesn't happen very often. And this was going on, and it really kind of got me to thinking, I mean, all of my issues aside, because I'm not going to sit here and share all of my personal stuff, but, all issues aside, it really got me thinking, when we're having these sorts of episodes and things, it's like things are just, emotions are just piled and layered one after another. They're just piled on top of each other. And we have layers upon layers of things that are just pushed down. And when something comes up that is very uncomfortable, that is very sad, that is very, like I'll give example, like if you're scrolling through social media and you start to read like something that's like sad, or maybe it says trigger warning, or like it's just a sad story, sometimes you might choose to be like, oh, you know what, I can't deal with that right now. So I'm not like, I'm going to ignore it and I'm not going to read about this, and that's fine. Like that's totally healthy. You don't have to read about stuff that's going to, make you upset. But that is kind of like, that is your nervous system. That's your comfort thing going, So, like we want to stay happy. We want to stay not upset. So it keeps you in your little comfort box, like if I don't read about it, then I won't get upset. And the same kind of thing happens when something actually happens that, we can't get away from, you've already heard the story, or something has happened to you, or, whatever it is that's going on. And you're not doing this on purpose. Your subconscious, your brain, it's just like, no, we don't want to feel this because this makes us feel ucky. This puts us into a place, so your body, your emotions really are trying to protect you by not allowing you to feel what you actually need to feel. And then those things layer and they pile and they pile. And sometimes we end up having panic attacks as a result, with lots of different things, like piling on. And, maybe we'll be having panic attacks over something that logically we know are very silly. I'll give an example there because my refrigerator in the kitchen has been out of commission for 2 weeks now. And apparently there's something going on in the back end that something's not approved this out of, so I don't have like a date, like they're like, we're still waiting for approval from blah, 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 blah. And there's like no communication between like the service people and the warranty people, and like I'm like, all I want is, I mean, at this point it's not going to be fixed in time for Christmas, and I'm okay with that. I've got a garage fridge, like we're making it work, it is what it is. But like, why am I not falling asleep at night? Why am I like, why is this constantly on my mind about a refrigerator? So it's like, okay, well, let me make this phone call once again and try and get this taken care of, because what it's doing, I shouldn't be having a panic attack over something like that, just kind of like up at night thinking about it. But it's one more thing. It's that one more thing, So that's why sometimes like you'll have a panic attack, or like you'll totally lose your shit. Maybe it's not a panic attack, but you just it's the last straw and you lose your shit. People are like, oh my God, she freaked out over the dumbest thing. Maybe that last thing seemed kind of dumb to freak out over, but nobody's looking at the 65,000 other things that were already there. And then you just put this one little thing on top. the straw that broke the camel's back, so that, the same kind of thing happens with emotions and tasks, uh, I mean, I have a pretty long list. I'm sure you do too. Anybody who, ladies, you're a wife, you're a mom, you work, you stay home, whatever it is you do, you got a long list of shit you got to do every single day or every single week. I know you do because I do too. And your list is different from mine. Fine, but your list exists. And when your list has something on it like that, like for me, like I thought I took care of this, it wasn't taken care of. I don't have a day to skip. So that one last thing on top of my list, it doesn't matter that like I got all this other stuff done over the weekend or yesterday or the day before. I got all this other stuff done. Like I could show you, like I'm not going to pick up my like scribble list, but like my list of stuff, like I got a lot of things done, but that one thing there is just kind of like hanging there in the abyss, and that is causing, it's like, okay, well, I need this one other thing to be done. So the same kind of thing happens when you have like emotion after emotion after emotion, and it gets to that top breaking point and you reach your breaking point, and then that's when people are like, wow, she really flips out over stupid shit. It's like, okay, like that, yes, that particular thing was stupid, but all this other stuff, and some of that other stuff might have been stupid too, but it's like, it's not really, it's the quantity of it all, so you have all of these things, and it was all this super awesome defense mechanism to keep you in a more positive and happy spot at the point that you needed to be in, and because sometimes that's what you need to do. There are some things it's like, okay, I really can't deal with that right now, like when you find out like that like yesterday I found out that there was like a communication thing going on, but I didn't have time to make another phone call to the warranty company yesterday, so I had to wait until this morning. So like all last night I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, am I even gonna, like, what's gonna happen with this phone call and everything, and so I'm just kind of like, oh, and that's another thing with, okay, perimenopause, ladies, any one of you that has ADHD or suspected or whatever, and it is freaking amped up something fierce. The executive dysfunction on making a phone call like that is really, really overwhelming at times. And, and what I want you to know is that like all of these things can be managed better when we are doing more of our own emotional work and everything. So, this is where like emotion code and body code come in handy. This is where, because I actually sat this morning and I was like, you know what? I think I need to reach out to one of my colleagues that does this too. Because, I mean, I will release emotions on myself, on my kids, like I do work on myself as well, of course. But I'm giving you this podcast today because I want you to know, like, yes, I work on myself too. I do these things. I want to help you, but I am a human being and I have bad days. I am not always like, oh my gosh, I'm all like completely in control of my emotions and everything's all perfect and la 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 la. No, that's not how I am. Sometimes, I try to be that way, in certain situations, but no, I mean, we are not always like that. Human beings feel all kinds of different emotions all the time. Like, it's not like, oh, she's always so happy. Well, yeah, but like that's fantastic. She's a very positive outlook on everything, or he does, or whatever, but that doesn't mean that that person never gets sad. It doesn't mean that that person doesn't have to deal with all of these other things. And each and every person is going to have a completely different life story, a completely different health story. So just because one person is like, well, yeah, I can deal with this and this, everybody's life is different. Everybody's emotional baggage is different. Everybody's to-do list is different. Everybody's motivation is different. Not everybody has executive dysfunction over doing silly things like making a damn phone call, which some people look at me and go, why can't you make the damn phone call? It's so easy. And I'm like, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I got my coffee and I made the call and I stayed calm. And thankfully, it was not a super difficult company to like get through, the robot to get an agent on the phone. Like it was actually pretty simple. They weren't constantly like, tell me more. I need to know more. Can I help you? So thankful for that because I've had some nightmares with that and I'm sure you have too. So by the time you get an agent on the phone, you're just like, oh my goodness. So, so I am thankful for that piece of it. But I I had to give this to you because I'm sitting there, I'm sitting here, I was sitting here, and I was like, I'm not okay today. And I really feel like I need like an ugly cry today. And so, you know what? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do because I do still have some things that I have to do. Okay. Some examples, just because, like I know you've got all kinds of stuff on your list. Even if it's not Christmas time when you were listening to this, you've got stuff on your list. You have things that you need to do. You have other things going on around you that you have no control over, other family members, you have other friends, there are things going on in the world, stuff in your kitchen's breaking, whatever the case is, you've got stuff going on. So it's okay to like acknowledge that like you're not doing what like you're like, okay, you know what? I need that mental health day. I need a break. I need to really dig into this. So the difference here is I'm not so what I'm going to do today is when I get off of this of recording this podcast, I have to pack up some boxes. I have some gifts that I need to send across the country, and I'm going to run to the post office and do that. And then I am going to run a bath. I'm going to have a cup of tea, and I want to get grounded. I want to release some things, but I'm not just going to sit in the bath just for a relaxing thing. Now, because I have been doing this emotional work and because I know what all of the energy centers uh, are holding and what is in all like and where you feel these emotions. So, it's very important when you're feeling these kinds of emotions, where in your body do you feel it? Because that can be a clue as to what area, which energy center you need to kind of just put your eyes on. So today, as I relax in that way, I'm going to put eyes on the energy centers that I feel I need to put eyes on and breathe through that. And that's when you start to have little moments of clarity. It's not like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm all better. Yay, thank you. No, because we're humans. And, like this, you're going to I'm going to get out of the bath and I'm still going to be the same person that I am right now, but perhaps I'll have just a little bit more clarity, see things in a slightly different way, be able to accept something or come up with a new way to handle something because you've put eyes on it and you realize, okay, you know what? I am feeling this way about this, but it's not because of the thing happening that I feel this way. I feel this way because I have been programmed since I was little to feel this way when something happens. From like ages 1 to 7, we are programmed, everything that we're told by our parents or, like whatever, like your culture, you're programmed with your culture in your family. You're programmed with the way people do this and that and the other thing. And like, nobody's like sitting here like, okay, how are we going to program this kid today? Like that's not what's going on. But, you share your cultures and your, all of that. You share that with your babies, of course. Families have cultures and traditions and all of those great things. And then you grow up and you make your own and it's wonderful. But we're being programmed at this young age. So sometimes, most of the time, we are knee-jerk reacting on the inside. I'm not saying like knee-jerk reaction where you're like, blurting something out at somebody, but our nervous systems are having like a knee-jerk reaction to things because when something happens now, it's relating it to something that happened then. And we were programmed to react to it in that way. Or we were programmed that like this is a major catastrophe and we must be very upset about it, and so when we put eyes on things like that and we can look at it and then we can it's not that it changes right away. It's just that you put eyes at it and you realize that you have an opportunity to think about it in a different way. You have an opportunity to just go, all right, I'm not going to think about it like that because this other way, this other thing that could be going on is also possible. So maybe it doesn't have to be all that bad, or maybe we can react in a different way so that it doesn't bother our nervous system quite as badly. It doesn't make us, when you're sitting in a chair in your living room, your nervous system shouldn't think that you're being chased by a mountain lion outside. And that is what's going on when we are ignoring all of these things. And it's not that we mean to ignore them. You haven't done anything wrong. Nobody did anything wrong. It's just this is life. This is humans being human. This is how, here we are. This is what we get. So when we can dig into these things and put some more eyes on awareness, it helps you learn about yourself internally, your true self, because you're under there. You're under there somewhere. And the true you underneath is not the one that would actually have a complete flip out and panic over whatever it is. Sometimes there are things that actually do, you're supposed to be panicked. And that's why we have that's why we have this reaction system. Your nervous system reacts in this way for good reason. So there are times when, yes, that reaction is completely warranted. But for the most part, most of the time, our nervous systems are overreacting and we are under there. Our true selves are not the things that flip out, that freak out, that panic, that overthink everything. That's not you. The voice inside your head is not you. It's just, a version of you that you made up, but it wasn't the. Everybody's going to be confused on what the hell is she talking about? But for real, the real you is underneath all of this other gunk. And the more that we put eyes on, how we can look at things in a different way, it helps. It helps us realize that, we can let go of things better because, you hang on to something when you think that it has to be exactly this way. And you get kind of stuck with that. And when you realize that something could be a little bit different, then, you're able to kind of let go of your grip. And it's that grip on that thing, on that opinion, basically. It's a grip on an opinion that keeps you stuck. You guys like my Santa pants? These, my Santa pants mug. I've had these for years. I got 2 of them. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Who wants to take a deep breath with me? Let's do it. Let's take a deep breath. We're going to activate the parasympathetic. We're going to go in for 4. We're going to hold it for 2 and a long one out for at least 6. And when you have that exhale longer than the inhale, you're going to activate that parasympathetic. So let's do that so that we can end this in a nice restful place. Okay, ready? Let's do it. Let's go. In for 4. Let every little bit of that breath out. Do it a couple times if you need to. Do it a couple times if you need to. But this week, hey, what can you just think differently about a little bit? You don't have to change what you're going to do about something. You don't have to change, just how can you think about it in a different way to take some of that ease, to give you some ease, to take some of that burden off of your nervous system, to get it out of your energy centers so that things can flow more freely. Because the more that we are, with our nervous system, yeah, that is going to show up in your immune system. And especially, well, at any time, you don't want to be just, like getting sick just because your nervous system was shot. So, you want you want your immune system to be doing very well. So anything that we can do to calm down is going to be a good thing and get grounded. So I hope that if you are dealing with anything, that this was helpful, because I know that there are days where we're just like, I can't, I can't adult. I can't do this. I can't even make a phone call. It's just, there's just something where I just can't, it's like, mama said there'd be days like this and it's okay. It's okay to not be okay today because today is not forever. That's not my own phrase. I read it somewhere. I'm not even sure who said it first, but it's a good one. Today is not forever. So you will be okay again. If anybody needs any help in anything in this realm, just go ahead and reach out. Okay. Just reach out. I'd love to have you in my world. Thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. Take a peek over at my website. Go ahead over to deeprootedwellnessid.com. You can check out my emotion code and body codes. If you would like to get something free, let's see which one. Let's do Quantum Path to Wellness. Let's do, you can go pick that up for free. Go to go.deeprootedwellnessid.com/quantum-path. And that's my freebie for you. And please come back next week. Share this with somebody who just needs to know that it's okay to be in a sucktastic mood. You can stay in your sucky mood. but try and think about it in a different way, reshape it. And the awesome thing about this, oh, I have to end with this because you know what? The awesome thing about this is the more that you sit there and allow yourself to reframe things and look at something in a different way, the more that you do that, it will change inside your brain because of a beautiful thing called neuroplasticity. You are able to reframe all of those things. And it's not an overnight thing. But if you put eyes on things more and more like this, I promise you're going to start to notice a difference. Have a great, great week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love you guys. Bye.